everybody and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Anna, and of course, as you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to talk about all the books that I read in August and also my September TBR. So before we dive right into all the books I read in this month of August, I do want to talk about two books that I am currently reading because I am filming this on the 29th of August. So I do have some books that I'm going to finish before the 31st of August, but I just don't really have time to film in any other day. So I'm going to be talking about two books that I am currently reading. One, which is A Feast for Crows by George R. R. Martin. And of course, I am filming a separate reading vlog for this one, so I'm not going to be talking too much about it. I am 65% through this book, and I do have, some thoughts. This definitely not going to be one of my favorites of the series. In fact, I think right now it's my least favorite, which is shocking because I thought it was only going to get better, but that is not the case. But I'm not going to talk too much about it. And another book that I am currently reading is called O Enigma das Cavernas, Histórias de Ilusões, do Carlos Filipe Saraiva. This is a Portuguese author, and he kindly sent me his book to read, and I think I am 60% through. Yep, I am. I am 100 pages in, and it does have 167 pages, so I am 60% through. And honestly, I don't know how I'm feeling about this. I don't know if I'm enjoying it that much because this is definitely targeted to a younger audience. This is definitely targeted to, a more YA audience, a teenage audience, and I am 26. I'm 26, so this book is so on the nose for me because the author did tell me, he is a psychologist, and he did want to write about, the consequences of addiction, the consequences of being addicted to pretty much anything, to drugs, to our phones, addicted to lust, to just gambling, and literally anything. And he wanted to talk a lot about those consequences and what actually it does to your life and how it ruins your life, how it destroys your life, because he sees so many cases of teenagers just being completely addicted to something, especially to their phones nowadays, which is very, very sad. I'm so grateful that I grew up in an era where the phones, we did have, smartphones, of course, but we weren't using them as much, okay? It just wasn't a thing back then, and I do understand where the author came from, but the themes are just so on the nose, and they are discussed so on the nose. It's not subtle at all. The message is just being screamed, like, it's just in your face, and I don't really like that. It's just so on the nose, in my opinion, and that's why I'm saying, this is definitely for a younger audience. This is definitely for teenagers to read and understand what he's talking about, what he's discussing. And I do like the illusion of the caverns, by Plato. I love how he used that story and the allegory and how he created so many different types of caverns with so many different types of addictions and just problems and issues. I do like that, but the rest I don't really like. I think the story is so fast-paced. Everything is just moving way too fast, and we don't really have, a lot of time for the characters to see them develop and grow and just have those debates and those discussions. So I don't know how I'm feeling about this, but this is definitely for a younger audience, so I'm not going to judge too harshly. And I think this is the first book of the author, so the writing is also not amazing, not great, but it is something very important to talk about and to discuss. So if you are a teenager, or any teenager, if you have daughter, a son, whatever, I would actually recommend this book because this does, talk about a lot of important topics and a lot of important things that we should talk about with teenagers. And now going to all the books I read in this month of August, I read Six of the Dust by Brandon Sanderson, and I actually really enjoyed this novella, which is surprising because I don't usually tend to enjoy novellas. I always feel like there's something missing. I always feel like, the story was cut too short. The characters didn't really have time to develop. We didn't really get to know them. But honestly, this novella was the perfect length. I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't need any more of the story. I didn't need any more of the characters. I absolutely love this world. Okay, this world is so fascinating to me because I love the culture of the trackers. I love how our main character Dusk is a tracker and how there's an entire culture surrounding it and around it. We have so many trackers on these very dangerous islands because these islands are very, very dangerous. You have all different types of creatures, and even the magic system is based on birds. So you do have to collect these birds, and some breed them for this purpose. They create a mental barrier so the other predators cannot sense you, because that's how predators sense prey. It's by, reading their minds or kind of understanding where they are. So when these birds create that mental barrier, the predators cannot find you. But Dusk has a very special bird, and that bird can actually see when Dusk is going to die. So let me explain. It's not really like, oh, you're going to die at this day, at this hour. No, it's kind of like Dusk has to make choices when he's walking through the forest, and sometimes he sees his dead body, just laying on the ground, and he's like, okay, this path is dangerous, and I need to look out for whatever is causing this danger. And for example, he can find some vines, and he's like, oh, if I went there, I would have gotten tangled in those vines, and I would have choked to death. That's why he saw his dead body. So that bird is very, very handy, okay, when going through those forests, because like I said, they are very dangerous. I love the atmosphere that Brandon Sanderson created with that danger, with the unexpected. with, just how spooky it could all get. I really, really enjoyed that. But like I said, I also enjoyed the culture of the trackers, where the trackers, they are very solitary people. They don't mingle with anyone. They don't speak. Like, they speak, but they barely speak. They don't like talking to anyone. They don't even question anything around them. They're just like, okay, things are like this because they're like this. Like, I'm not going to try and find out why nature is like this, why the forest is doing this, why animals act this way. Like, no, it is what it is. I'm just going to mind my business, stay in my lane, and do what I got to do. And they are actually very territorial, which means that if they find another tracker, like, they're always constantly trying to kill each other, which is insane to me.
Come on, let's go outside.
Go outside for what?
We're gonna fight.
It's actually insane to me that they're always trying to kill each other and building these traps. But honestly, if a tracker dies, he does leave, a letter to the other trackers, like, if you find my birds, you can keep them, please keep them. They have nowhere to go, they're domesticated, so they don't really know how to survive in the wild. So they do love their birds, and they treat them very, very well, to the point where they're actually like, you know what, another tracker can keep them, I'm gonna let go of my pride, and you can stay with my birds. Like, I just love this entire culture of everything, and I absolutely love the dynamic between Dusk and the other character, which I cannot remember the name of for the life of me. I don't know why. I just do not remember her name. And she went on this expedition to Dusk's island, or, well, it's not his island, but where he is, and it's just crazy, their dynamic, because she loves talking. She loves talking, and because she's a scientist, she loves understanding how things work and how everything works around her, and she keeps asking Dusk these questions, and he's like, I don't know, woman. Like, I do not know. Just shut up. Please shut up. I don't want to listen to you anymore. Like, why do you talk so much? Like, I do not understand. Why do you need to know all of these things? They are the way they are because it is what it is. It is what it is. Why are you trying to know more? So their dynamic is just really, really funny. And I also really like the story because it talks a lot about progress and how we cannot stop progress. Because, these group of scientists, they show up at the island where Dusk is. And Dusk loves this island. He loves the culture of the trackers. And there are not many, there are not a lot of trackers anymore. The culture is kind of dying. And he's so afraid because these scientists built a machine. And he knows, like, this machine is not here for good. This machine is going to destroy the island and everything that we know. And I want to stop it. I just don't really know how to stop it. And it's just that talk of, progress is going to happen regardless if you want it or not. It is what it is. Progress is always going to happen. We're always going to want to know more about the universe, more about the planet, more about everything. That's just us as humans. We want to progress. We want to create new things. But it's the balance that we need to find when it comes to, how fast we can progress. Because Dusk was panicking, frankly. He was literally panicking because he was like, my ways are being destroyed. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop this. This is all going so fast. I cannot adapt. There is just no way that I can adapt to this. And it's such an interesting conversation because we see this even now with AI. We're all so scared because everything is happening so fast that not even the creators of AI understand AI anymore. Like, we're just at a point where we're just like, do we even understand what we're doing? Like, do we even understand what we're doing? Are we all lost? I don't know. So I just love the talk of this themes of those conversations. So for that reason, I have to give this novella 4 stars. I absolutely love this. I cannot wait to read Islands of the Emberdark because I want to be back in that world, in that magic system, and with the trackers. I just really need to be back in that world. So I'm definitely going to read that book in September, okay? You're getting a sneak peek at my September TBR. And another book I read in the month of August was Evevoudre? I don't know, this title is so hard to understand, by Reine Claro, another Portuguese author that kindly lent me her book, and I absolutely love this cover because it just looks so spooky and so eerie. But unfortunately, I did not like this book at all. I just don't think it was well written. I didn't really like the world, and it is a novella, so it is very short, but in this case, I wanted more. You wanted more, you need more, because I did not understand the world whatsoever. I did not understand how it worked, where the character was. Everything was just so confusing because you're just dropped there and you have to figure out everything by yourself, and that is just very hard to do. So I didn't really understand anything. I don't understand how the magic system works, and even our main character, Evevoudre, I don't really like her. She doesn't really, she's a typical assassin that is mean, that is cunning. She really doesn't care about anyone or anything. She's very good at what she does. She always survives, and there was just, nothing really special about her. And even the story, I cannot tell you what it was about because it was just so confusing. Like, this story was so confusing. I know she had, the beginning is very, very rough. So please check trigger warnings, okay? This has a lot of trigger warnings. Please check them if you don't want to read because this is very, very violent and gruesome and brutal. I can't even tell you what the story was about because she was just on a bunch of missions. And the way that it ended, it was so weird. Like I said, I really did not understand this book. I do not understand what I read. And that is bad, okay? That is really, really bad because you have to understand what you read. And even when you try to make things convoluted, you still have to give something to the reader. And I felt like this didn't give me anything. I did not understand anything that happened. I don't know if I'm dumb. Like, I don't know if I was just dumb and I couldn't understand anything, but I just did not. So, and for that reason, I will have to give this book 1 star. Like, I'm actually really, really sad, but like I said, I did not understand the world. I did not understand the magic system. I do not understand the story. I don't know what the hell happened to this character. I think the author was trying to introduce us to this character because she is going to be a part of, like, a large fantasy series, but I don't know, I just didn't really like her. I think she was just, a very typical assassin, like we've always read about, and there's just nothing really special about her. So yeah, I don't really know what to say more about this book other than it was kind of a disappointment. And lastly, I read, I think it's Silence for Shadows in the Force of Hell. I don't know, okay? I never know this title. I don't know why. It's just so goddamn long. And I also loved this. I don't know why, but I'm so surprised that Brandon Sanderson really knows how to write novellas because, once again, I didn't feel like this needed to be longer. I didn't feel like the characters more fleshed out. And honestly, this one is my favorite. This one is my favorite. I actually think I have to give this a 4.5 because I did want more, but it's not because the story was, poorly written or it wasn't well written. I just wanted more because I loved it. So of course I did want it to be longer, but it didn't need to be longer. And I just love this. Okay, once again, this world is not as, interesting as Six of the Dusk. It's really not, but I just love the trope of the creepy forest. Okay, people, I love it. I absolutely love it. And this forest is creepy. You have a lot of, dead people lurking around. They are spirits and they are drawn by 2 things: fire and blood. And the way that this works is, for example, you have to be the one to draw the blood. So, for example, if you try to attack someone else and you draw blood, the ghosts are coming for you specifically, for the attacker and not the person that is bleeding. That will only happen once the attacker is dead. The attacker is dead, blood, that's where they're drawn to. And example, the fire is the same thing. If you start a fire, they are coming for you first and then to, the fire afterwards. If you are, around the fire, too bad, you're going to get killed. So I absolutely loved this atmosphere, how eerie it was, how creepy it felt, how, you always saw the green eyes walking around, which represented the dead people. And once they became red, they became violent and nothing could stop them. And you actually have consequences in this book. And honestly, I actually didn't know, but in the beginning of this novella, Brandon Sanderson does say that he wrote this story for George R. R. Martin because George R. R. Martin was editing an anthology about dangerous women, and he asked Brandon Sanderson to write something for that anthology, and he came up with this novella. And I absolutely love this because this is a dangerous woman, but not in the sense of, oh, I know how to fight, I know how to use a sword. No, she is very cunning, she's very smart, she knows how to do things, how to get what she wants, and I absolutely loved that. And I love how her name was Silence as well. It's so weird because she's such a strong woman and so strong-willed, but her name is Silence. That is so interesting. So I did absolutely love the world, and I loved the story because we have this older woman, and she lives in this dangerous forest, and she owns a way stop. And a way stop is basically a little, let's imagine a little cottage in the forest where a lot of people go there, a lot of hunters, a lot of just people that are crossing the forest go there to stay because that's protected. That way stop is known for being one of the safest because she has, a lot of salt around the cottage. She has a lot of silver, which protects them from the spirits. So her way stop is very, very known for being safe. And a lot of people stop there. And the way that she maintains that shop is by being a bounty hunter. So she actually collects, she kills people and then collects the bounties. And she does it in a very, sophisticated way to the point where people actually talk about her as the White Fox. They're always saying, like, the White Fox struck again. The White Fox did this. Careful, the White Fox is out there. They can go after you. Nobody knows that it's her, but she does it in such a way that everyone is just afraid of her and the White Fox, which is, I just loved it, okay? I loved it. And we follow Silence as she's trying, to stay afloat. 2 daughters to raise. One of them is not hers, but she adopted her. She found her. So, yeah, it's actually, very realistic because she has bills to pay. She has a lot of things to pay for. It's not easy at all being a single mother because her husband died. So, yeah, and this is what she literally does as a bounty hunter. And she's after, one of the most dangerous people and despicable people. This man has killed so many. He has hunted down so many people. And not just that, he has actively, burnt down villages and people's homes and done horrific things to the men, the women, the children, just anything despicable that you can think of, he has done it. So she's like, you know what, that's who I'm tracking, that's the person I'm going to kill. So we follow her as she's going to kill this man and obviously his gang, and it's just fun. Okay, it's just a lot of fun. I'm not going to tell you more, I'm not going to talk about more, but I just loved this story so much. And obviously the characters, I loved Silence. I think she's such a powerful woman. She's so strong, she's so determined, she's just everything, you know, and I absolutely love reading about women like that, and the way that she raised her daughter, or, you know, in this case, her two daughters. It was just also amazing because she tries her very best. You understand that she doesn't really, you know, she's not very affectionate. She doesn't give a lot of affection, a lot of love, but that's because she wants to raise their daughters how to be independent and how to look out for themselves in this forest, because it is very dangerous. So she wants to instill into them everything that she learned from her own grandmother, but she loves her daughters deeply. She would do anything for her two daughters despite not being that affectionate, and I just absolutely love that. I love this character so much. And even the writing, I love this writing because you can tell that Brandon Sanderson wrote this in a very adult way, and I love the themes explored in this book. I love the adult tone, just everything about this. It's just so amazing. It was so amazing, and it's so hard for me to talk about this because I loved it so much. I'm just like, read it, okay, read it because I loved it, and it was just amazing. It has to be a 4.5. Like, now that I'm thinking of it, it has to be a 4.5 because, oh my god, like, I would love to read a story about silence. I would love to read a story in this world because it was just amazing. Like, I don't know what else to say. It was just amazing. And these were all the books I read in August. As you can tell, there were a lot of short books. I'm probably going to finish, We Enigma das Gevaarlijks before September starts. And I might actually finish, The Trees Grew Here because I bled there. I still haven't started it, but I do think I have time because, again, it's a very short book. I think it's 200 pages max. So I think I'm also going to start and finish it before September. But that one, I'm not sure. I do not know. I will talk about it in September, so don't worry. But let's talk about all the books I want to read in this month of September. So obviously, the book that I want to start, okay, not finish, start in September is A Dance with Dragons by George R. R. Martin. I have to finish this, okay? I have to finish the Chronicles of Ice and Fire. I cannot delay this any longer. I was thinking about delaying it, but then I thought, why? One of my goals is to finish this series this year, so I'm not going to delay it any longer. I think I'm going to start it in September and probably finish it at another time, probably finish it in October, I don't know. But I'm definitely not aiming to finish it in September because I do want to read other things and other books. But of course, A Dance with Dragons has to be, included in this pile. And then another book that I do want to read in September is actually The Will of the Many. I really want to read this, and it has to be read, okay? Because the second book is coming out in November. And, when it came out, I heard so much buzz about this book. I heard so many people loving it, and a lot of people loved it. I haven't seen a single bad review. Okay, I lied. I saw one bad review. It wasn't really a bad review. I think I only saw one person kind of criticizing how the main character was, Mary Sue. I don't know, I don't really like that, and I don't know how to feel about it because now I'm a little bit scared that it's going to be like a Quoth situation from The Name of the Wind, because he was also a Mary Sue, and I did not like that at all. But let's see, okay? Let's see how I find it, if I do like it, if I don't like it, or if it doesn't really bother me that much. But yeah, I heard so much buzz about this. People love The Will of the Many, so of course I have to read it. And if I actually end up loving this and I can become obsessed with this series, the second book is coming out in November, people, so I don't have to wait that long, and I can read the second book with the rest of the world. So this is my plan. This is how I crafted it, and I will definitely be reading The Will of the Many, so stay tuned. And of course, like I said, I absolutely love Six of the Dust, so I also had to read Isles of the Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson because I want to be back in this world. I want to be back with these silly, goofy birds. I want to be back with these beautiful birds and this really original and kind of weird magic system. I just have to be back, okay? I actually do not know what the story is about. Like, I don't know anything about the story at all. All I know is the Six of the Dust is in the Isles of the Emberdark, and I think it's in this book as, some sort of like flashback. So I am, counting on reading or rereading the Six of the Dust through flashbacks in this book. So I'm assuming these people actually made progress and now they're trying to deal with that situation. I don't know. So I don't know anything about Isles of the Emberdark, and I honestly don't want to know more about it because I want to go into it not knowing anything, just not knowing, anything, because I want to be surprised. And finally, for this month of September, I do want to read The Wolf, and I completely forgot the author, okay, but I'm going to put a picture here. And the reason why is because I always choose, a random paper from my little skull. I have so many prompts, and the prompt that I picked, that I took out of the jar was adult fantasy reads. And I think this is an adult fantasy read, and this is on my list of, the 25 books I want to read this year. So I'm going to try it out, and honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember why I chose this. I don't remember why I put this in my Goodreads TBR, okay, people? I think this has been on my Goodreads TBR for, I think, 3 years. So, I don't know. Like, I do not know why. I don't remember anything about this book. I do not remember the synopsis. All I knew back then is I know that I found it interesting. And honestly, I'm not going to see it, okay? I'm not not going to see the synopsis. I'm not going to, you know, try and figure out what it is. I want to go into it also not knowing anything because, I don't know, I just want to be surprised. And I don't know, because what if I go into it and I'm not interested anymore? I don't know. So I would rather, you know, look at it with fresh new eyes instead of having, you know, some sort of idea or expectation of what I want or what I'm, you know, expecting. That was redundant. I'm sorry. Like, I always am so redundant. I don't know why, but I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize from the bottom of my heart for being redundant. But anyways, this is one of the books I also chose to read this month of September. So this TBR already is kind of delulu. It's just a very, very, you know, big amount of books. They're very, very hefty. So I don't know if I'm going to read all of these books, and I don't know if I'm going to have time to read anything else, because I don't know if you saw, you know, my July wrap up. There we go. I don't know if you saw my July wrap up, but I talked about a book that I absolutely loved that was written by a Portuguese author, which was Despertar do Caos, do Ricardo C. Dias, and I was fortunate enough to actually become a better reader for his second book, A Espada da Justiça, or The Sword of Justice, and I cannot wait. You know, I cannot wait. I really want to read it, and I want to read it in September, and I really want to, you know, pay attention to it because I want to underline things. I want to obviously give commentary about what he should change, what I liked, what I didn't like, just all of those things. So I do want to focus on that book also in September. So I don't know if I'm going to add any other book to my TBR. So I don't know if I'm going to be adding, you know, any other book to my TBR, and I don't think I should. So I think right now I'm going to maintain my TBR this way, and please let me know down in the comments, you know, what is your TBR? What did you read in August? What is your TBR for September? Let me know, because I want to, you know, I'm nosy, okay? I'm nosy. I want to know everything that you guys are reading because I want to compare. If, you know, I just want to know if I'm not the only one that is delusional while creating these humongous TBRs while being a slow reader. So please give me confidence and a little bit of a boost in the comments below to finish my September TBR, because I do think it's going to be completely impossible to do so. And without further ado, the video ends here. So if you could please subscribe and like this video, it would help my channel out a lot. It gives me a lot of motivation and a lot of validation to continue making these videos. And I will see you guys on my next video. Bye!